So, this last week, EA have dropped their latest live service content for F1 25. And within the article to announce it, they've kind of hidden away when we're going to next hear about F1 26 DLC. Unless you were living under a rock at the end of last year, we found out that there will be no full F1 game in this year of 2026. It will simply be a DLC for F1 25 as Cody's and EA take some more time to work on the next new F1 game that will now come out in 2027. So, 2026 content, the cars, driver transfers, all the new regs, etc. Audi, Cadillac, all coming in a new DLC. But that was it. Just the fact that was happening was the only news we have heard so far. But hidden away in this article about the latest live service update is some news and some inkling of maybe when we can expect some actual details of how the DLC will work maybe, or when it's going to come out even. And for the first part of this video, we'll just cut straight to the chase and get into that news in this article. And then for the second part, as usual with these live service updates, I will be completing the new live service content and showing you the unlocked rewards so you don't have to. Let's get into this then. So Season 5 celebrates the big stories of the 2025 season. We don't care about that for now. We will get to that in a bit. We're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here and a look to the future. So I don't know why they were quite hush-hush about this. Like, they didn't tweet or put a post out that said this separately. It was just hidden away in this article to the point where I didn't even know about it until a couple of days ago, basically. And I haven't brought this video to you guys yet because I've been a little bit under the weather. I was on death's door 2 days ago, so apologies for the lack of content in the last week. But to be fair, if I was going to get ill at any point in the year, you'd rather it be January. We're in the depths of the winter break, you know, usual kind of winter break slop content. So yeah, I mean, it's probably good timing for me just to get this illness out of the way. But anyway, we're here. I'm near to recovery. And now let's look to the future indeed. Hidden away in this article. Obviously, I went through this in case you missed it. We shared an important update about the future of EA Sports F1, about the 2026 season being a paid expansion DLC for F1 25. So this is the new bit. As we approach the hotly anticipated real-world 2026 season, as I upload this, into next week, we're getting the first livery launch, which will be Red Bull and V-Carb, I think on Thursday, is it? So very, very soon, we're going to start rolling through 2026, and we can all start get hyped about the paid expansion as well. Because as soon as I see these cars, my mind, and I'm sure your guys' mind, for those of us who play the F1 games, your mind just goes straight to, okay, how's this going to look in the game? Like, oh, what's the T-cam going to be like in the game when I play as this team? That's at least where my nerdy F1 game brain goes straight to it. But here we go. As we approach the hotly anticipated real-world 2026 season, we'll be sure to share in the excitement and reveal more of what's to come alongside Season 6. Make sure you don't miss out on any info by following EA Sports across the social. So, more news will come with Season 6. To remind you, we're in Season 5 of this live, so I always say live service because it doesn't really, there's not a lot of content every time, but they try their best at the moment. So this is Season 5. Right now, what they've just dropped, the content. So there is going to be a Season 6 of live service content where there's probably like, I don't know, like 2 scenarios like they've got here. And alongside that will be more news and details about the 2026 paid expansion. When that will be is going to be, well, probably March 4th, because this season ends, I believe, if I'm reading it correctly, this season was running from Jan 7th to March 3rd. And then the very next day, the game usually updates maybe, and we're going to learn about the next season of content. Or it could be maybe, I think sometimes there's maybe a week delay. You know, if I look at my calendar, if we go to March 3rd, that's a Tuesday. I think typically they actually drop the news, don't they, on a Wednesday, and then maybe it's live by Thursday. There could be a week lag. Basically, either March 4th or the week commencing of March 9th, around that 2-week period, March 4th to like March 11th, I think it's safe to say that is the period where we're going to get a load more of info about the 2026 paid DLC, because that's also when Season 6 will happen. Which, by the way, I find interesting that there's going to be a Season 6, because let me load up this other tab. So this is actually... No, steady on. I'm going to get PTSD here, but this is news about F124. F124, I had to go back and check, and I was correct. We didn't get a Season 6 of, like, live service content for F124. So they are extending the live service period on F125. Whether that's because... F124 was such a dud of a game, no one wanted to continue playing it, so they maybe just cut their losses and focused on F125's launch to be. Maybe that's the reason why that didn't get a Season 6 and this is. But also, one way you could say, maybe they're doing a Season 6 of live service content here because, is the DLC going to come out at a later point then a new game would have come out, if you know what I mean. Because F124, we had Season 5 of live service, and then that was it. And then F125 came out, what was it, like the end of May? May 31st, or whatever. Right, last week of May. That's when it came out. But that was after a bit of a gap from Season 5 live service content. This time, we're getting Season 5 up till March 3rd, and then there's a whole nother season of live service. And then we don't know. There might be a gap after that because they like to have a gap usually between the last era. So is this suggested? You could either do it two ways. One, this might suggest, if we are to guess, maybe F126 DLC. Honestly, maybe it's going to come out later than a new game might come out. I don't know, because you think about it, right now, Cody's and EA, they don't even know what each of the team's cars look like, because right now they're going to be revealing their liveries, probably won't be revealing their actual real cars until, the very end of the second test at Bahrain. And if we're real, if you've been around in F1 enough, you know that realistically, actually, we won't see the real cars until round one, FP1 of the Australian Grand Prix. So it's a weird thing. They're going to have to build these cars from scratch, every single one. It's not like last year where they're so similar, so maybe you could get away with, taking some shortcuts. They're building these cars from scratch, the geometry and everything like that. On top of obviously guesstimating the physics and the rules and regulations, basically, until they get data from testing and such that the teams allow them and F1, give them. So that is a lot of work to actually crunch in compared to previous years. So there could be an argument for, coupled with this thing about, we're going to get Season 6, an extra season of live service, could this suggest that the paid expansion for F126 is that coming later than a new game would have launched, i.e. after May 31st, into June, maybe. The other way you could look at it, the flip side, the kind of more positive, kind of optimistic outlook could be, are they, because it's on the same game, it's F125 with the paid expansion, are they trying to roll the live service kind of, very, with smoothly into the paid expansion, if you know what I mean? So they have Season 6 of F125 live service, like two new scenarios, and the season ends. Don't fret, because now it's time for the paid expansion and our Season 7 of live service, which is all about the 2026 cars. Not only can you go and play career mode, my team, with the 2026 cars, here's some new live service content in Season 7, all to do about 2026. That could be the other way they go with it. And if that is the case, then, this season, Jan 7th to March 3rd, that's 55 days. 55 days after March 4th is going to be April 28th. So obviously I just said one idea of maybe the paid expansion will come after, a new game would drop, because typically there has been a gap between the last season of live service and the new game coming out. But this is different. This is a paid expansion. It's not an entirely new game. It's just a case of a digital unlock, a digital download of the content that they ship out, to Steam, to PlayStation, Xbox. So could they be doing it in a way where they're going to do Season 6, that's 55 days, 28th April comes round, and then 29th April or the end of April comes round, and they roll in season 7 of the live service to coincide with here's the paid expansion of F1 26. That could be the other way to look at it. Either way, we're gonna know more concretely around March 4th to March 11th, I would say. So that's the date to put in your calendar, F1 game fans, about when we're going to learn more about just anything about the paid DLC, because we've not heard anything really about how it's going to be implemented, any sort of, preview look at anything. Obviously, there's no preview to look at right now because, as I just said, they haven't even started building the cars probably because they don't know, because the teams haven't unveiled the cars. Maybe the teams are giving them early access to the CAD data. Who knows? I don't really know how that agreement would work with the DLC. But yeah, that's the week to look at of interest for news. And then that's my take of speculation of, I think there's 2 ways to go about it of when this DLC could come out, because I think it's very interesting that there's a season 6 of live service of F1 25 compared to F1 24. I was surprised to confirm that there wasn't a season 6. I thought I might have been wrong, but no, there wasn't a season 6 of the last game. So yeah, 2 different ways to go about it when it comes to F1 26 DLC. Now, let's get into, for the rest of this video, taking you through this live service update of Season 5. So this is all to do with Nico Hulkenberg and Max Verstappen when it comes to the scenario. So the first one is the podium awaits. It's a scenario with Hulkenberg at the British Grand Prix. You have to try and get a podium, and if you do, you unlock this the kind of checkered flag livery that they had at Vegas, I think it was, with Kick Sauber. A little bit obsolete, I feel. I feel like now, especially now that Audi have started, Audi just did a bit of, private testing at Barcelona. I feel like no one cares about the brand that is Kick Sauber anymore. We're all, modding the Audi, the red and black colors and whatever. So I don't know how much interest there's going to be for that, but fairs. And then the other one, it's surrounding Verstappen at Singapore. It's after a safety car. You have to basically make your way through. This is kind of emulating a sort of, Max fighting to bring back things, in real life, the way he did versus Piastri and Norris last season. But the unlock actually doesn't even give you a Red Bull livery. It gives you a V-carb livery with all the kind of graffiti sort of thing. So a bit of a peculiar reward for a Red Bull scenario. It's a V-carb thing, but I guess all the Red Bull special liveries had already been done with the previous live service updates and such. So without further ado, let's get into completing these 2 scenarios so you don't have to. So we're going to start off with the Nico Hulkenberg scenario. So the objective, finish in 3rd place at the British Grand Prix, of course, emulating Hulkenberg's epic finally getting on the podium in Formula 1. Similar conditions, it's going to be a wet to dry scenario, I believe. I don't know if it's going to be like for like to the British Grand Prix we saw last season, but it's going to have some kind of vibe and essence of it, basically. And obviously, driving in the Kick Sauber, it's going to be hopefully a bit of a challenge to get 3rd place, although we've spawned in P4. So really, off the rip, if we get Stroll here, it's just a case of defending the 3rd place, I felt. We're lap 44 of 52 of the full Grand Prix, so we're going to go for the ballsy move straight away, because in my mind, I think the most difficult part is just getting that 3rd place, and then from there, we just defend and give it everything we've got, make the car, as wide as possible, park the bus, park the stadium at every corner when quicker cars come at us, like maybe Lewis Hamilton. But as we go through onto lap 46, Hamilton's actually down the order now. Sainz has overtaken him. You can see on the top left, Piastri just got a 10-second penalty. So I think that's trying to emulate what happened in real life with the whole kerfuffle of Piastri under the safety car, getting that penalty. So he's been given a 10-second. I don't know where Verstappen is in all of this. In this scenario, but Lando will get ahead of Piastri then in this race because of that penalty, like in real life. But we're now in because it's drying out, as we got told. And initially, my engineer was telling us to go onto the hard tyre. I just looked through the menu and there was a soft and a medium available. I've gone for the medium. Piastri ahead of us has come in. He's on softs, but I reckon, you know, just because the base game, there's quite a fair bit of tyre wear, obviously, around here at Silverstone also. It's quite an abrasive circuit, so I thought, just in case this Sauber really is that horrible, you know, the base Sauber is really that bad on its tyres, let's go for the medium, just in case. I mean, the game wanted us to go on hards. I suppose if he did go on hards, that would make this scenario 10 times harder. But I just don't understand, if you've got free ability to choose, why would you ever choose to go on the hard tyres with only 5 laps to go? Yeah, I was making sure I counted right. 5 laps to go. So, lap 47, we're out on the medium tyre. Stroll is going to try and come back at us a little bit, as DRS is now enabled for the first time in the scenario. But we're only 4 laps away from maintaining this third place and getting the podium for Hulkenberg. Piastri still leads, but that 10-second penalty is, over his head, and that is surely going to get Norris into first. But no sign of Max Verstappen in this scenario. Hamilton has come back a little bit. He might be a threat as yellow flags behind, and Lance Stroll, all on his own, has had a mistake. Now, you're going to let you guys, if you try this out for yourselves, let me know. Is this a scripted moment in the scenario, or was this just my dumb luck of Stroll's AI just had a massive fluff? If it is, typical. Of course, Stroll's AI had a huge moment there for me. He just drove straight off at the final corner with the, I guess the circuit was a bit damp still, so yeah, I don't know. You can never tell in these scenarios what's like coded in as part of the scenario, like Piastri getting the 10-second penalty, and what's just genuinely just some AI, you know, finessing or, you know, fluff, basically. So Stroll takes himself out. That opens up the door for Hamilton to come through now in the Ferrari. A much quicker Ferrari, of course, even though the 2025 Ferrari, bit of a dog, but still quick enough to give us a bit of a bother in the kick Sauber. So we go defensive to the inside as we go now towards left field. Hamilton on the outside on the soft compound, but we do well to just get it back down the inside, and that's why I wanted to be in third straight away, getting Stroll on that first lap of the scenario, because it was a case of, if we got track position, in my mind, it was a case of it's a lot easier to defend, I feel, around Silverstone than it is to attack, in my opinion. Having done a fair few My Team races now around Silverstone, the AI actually very good around Silverstone, so I feel like it's hard to overtake them, but it's easier to defend, and so that's what we did. We brought home the third place, and we have emulated what Nico Hulkenberg did in real life, and we have got that elusive podium for the German after so long. But as usual, you know, these scenarios, the live service leaves you wanting a little bit more in terms of, like, you know, some special cutscenes or VO and whatnot. You know, obviously now that we know 26 is going to be a DLC, probably won't be seeing any improvements to this sort of live service for the DLC life. But maybe there's hope for 2027 that they'll be switching it up of what we get when it comes to live service stuff and the effort and cutscenes and whatnot. But here is the reward then that you get for completing that particular scenario, is the checkered flag kick Sauber that they had at Vegas. Not too different from the main livery, but still different enough, I guess. And now we go into the second scenario we'll be doing, so you don't have to. This one, though, I will say, is a lot more fun. This one is Verstappen, the objective, finishing third again, but we are going to be way down the order with a safety car in this Singapore Grand Prix, and it's our job to climb up the position. So this is a lot more fun. We're in a quicker car, and it's just about overtaking galore here around Singapore. We're on the medium tyre. A fair few cars ahead of us are actually going to be on the soft compound. A few of them maybe on hards. So we're going to middle of the road on the medium like we were in the Hulkenberg scenario. So both instances we're on the middle tyre, which, to be honest, I think is the better way to go, because we're at 55. We've got 7 laps to go, so I nearly get brake checked by Pierre Gasly there. Gasly's AI nearly just started a disaster for me there, because that could have easily been just as crashing into him and having to restart the scenario. But we go through on the restart then, get Pierre, and straight away making a move on the Sauber. We were just in as Hulkenberg and then diving it on Carlos Sainz. Bit of terrorism, I gotta say, on Carlos Sainz there. That was a very late lunge, but I felt like, even though we're in the Red Bull, we need to be making these overtakes as quickly as possible just to not waste too much time. There's some fighting going on ahead, and that's going to slow up Albon, slow up Lawson. We're going to make the move on Lawson, so already up, what is that, 4 positions on the opening half a lap, and now going for the switchback from right to left, get the power on early to out-traction Albon, and then the kamikaze dive on Hulkenberg. He leaves the door open, and we're up into P9, and it's only been 1 lap of the scenario so far. So very good progress, but a lot of fun making these late lunges as we now get the move on Ocon through the, it kind of started in the final corner, kind of finished into the first corner, up into P8 now. But this is where things might get a little bit difficult for us in terms of some quicker cars maybe after we dispatch of Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. To be fair, we couldn't quite out-traction Alonso. We had to go from left to right. Rear end steps out a little bit, but we get it done under braking to get up into P7. Sonoda hopefully won't give us too much of a bother. And then you feel like Piastri and McLaren, the 2 Mercedes, that might be a bit more of a difficult overtake to make. But Sonoda probably wasn't really planning the move there, but I just kind of went for it really late on the brakes, and we overtook Yuki there. And now on lap 58, trying to out-traction Piastri, both of us DRS open. Piastri, actually, to my surprise, goes defensive on this right-hand side, and we just stick on the left and get up into P5. Now, this is where things start to get a bit trickier for us, because we've got 4 laps to go. We've got the Mercedes of Antonelli and Russell. I also want to point out, it's a 1-2 for Ferrari right now. What's that about? That's a very unrealistic scenario, even in the game. 1-2 for Ferrari. They must have really lucked in with the safety car, but as we set a purple of the Grand Prix, fastest lap so far, we're catching up to Antonelli, and to my surprise, couldn't quite make a move on him in the first few corners, but you're about to see, it's almost like Antonelli's AI gets a bit of a hurry up from me arriving on the scene, because he actually completely outdoes me on the exit here, and he's so much quicker, and he goes and chases after his teammate. So very nice to see the 2 AI battling of Russell and Antonelli. Antonelli overtakes Russell. Russell went defensive, was defenseless against his teammate, and then we get him. So it almost was like Antonelli knew that, oh, I'm quicker than Russell, let's get a car in between us. And so in a weird way, it was almost like reliving a bit of the rivalry that was present in the My Team season we just did. You know, we were driving as Antonelli. We were going up against Verstappen in the McLaren in our My Team series. This is the other way around. We're driving as Verstappen in a completely different realm in this scenario. And Antonelli actually very good on the defense there. Squeezed me quite hard to the right-hand side. We couldn't quite make the overtake, so now we're going to have to go again to finally finish off this move for 3rd place on to lap 60. So, you know, we've got 3 laps to go, including the one we're on, and we haven't quite made the move yet, but surely now we set this up, because we're going to be the ones with DRS. Antonelli will not. We've got a decent amount of battery left as well, and so we're going to go through. We tried the right. I knew Antonelli was going to close the door. You just knew he was going to close the door, so we went from the right to left on the inside for the next left-hander, and then we're able to drift our way through as the tyres are maybe going off a little bit there on the medium compared to the hards that the Mercedes was on, but the 2 Ferraris will finish this 1-2. Only in a fictitious scenario can they get a 1-2 in the 2025 cars, I will point out. And we're going to come through for 3rd place and finish off this scenario and unlock that special graffiti V car that was from the British Grand Prix, I believe. So those are the 2 scenarios. Definitely this one at Singapore, the better one out of the 2, I think, here at Singapore. More fun to be had with the overtakes. But that was the Season 5 live service content for you guys completed, so you don't have to, and the rewards shown to you. But the main thing to take away from the video is really the hidden news that we are going to be getting some more things about F1 26 DLC come around March 4th to March 11th. So keep your eyes peeled, put it in the calendar, and then I suppose at that point we might find out if my guesswork is correct for option A or option B for when the release might be of the DLC. But till then, guys, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you guys around. Goodbye.